Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Newsbrowse News broadcast. Amidst escalating tensions in the Strait of Hormuz, Japanese Prime Minister Takaichi announced on April 6 that she intends to facilitate separate leader talks with the United States and Iran. Following U.S. President Donald Trump's intensified pressure on Iran, including an ultimatum to reopen the Strait of Hormuz by April 7th or face potential attacks on infrastructure, Takaichi emphasized Japan's commitment to diplomatic efforts. Speaking before the Japanese House of Councilors Budget Committee, the Prime Minister stated that preparations are underway for discussions at an appropriate time, involving high-level meetings. She highlighted the urgency of the situation, noting constant reports and instructions, and reiterated Japan's intention to leverage direct communication channels with the U.S. while cooperating closely with the international community. Japan is also proactively addressing its energy security by sourcing alternative crude oil supplies that bypass the strait and releasing strategic oil reserves. This news comes from Time by Thai Sounds. According to Thai Sounds, China is reportedly providing indirect support to Iran during wartime by assisting in the rapid reconstruction of its missile program. Shipping data analyzed by the UK's Telegraph reveals that at least 4 Iranian-flagged vessels belonging to the U.S.-sanctioned Islamic Republic of Iran shipping lines, FICL, have transported sodium perchlorate from China's Zhuhai Gaolan port to Iranian ports since the conflict began. This raw material is crucial for solid fuel missiles. Analysts estimate the delivered quantity is sufficient to produce hundreds of ballistic missiles, potentially sustaining Iran's current launch rate of 10 to 30 missiles daily for another month. The Institute for the Study of War, ISW, notes that this Chinese aid could undermine efforts by the U.S. and Israel to degrade Iran's missile capabilities, even as ISW observes some weakening in Iran's overall military system. According to CNA, Singapore's parliament is set to convene on Tuesday, April 7, to address the far-reaching impact of the Middle East conflict on the nation. 3 ministerial statements will be delivered by Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Trade and Industry Gan Kim Yong, Acting Minister for Transport and Senior Minister of State for Finance Jeffrey Seow, and Coordinating Minister for National Security and Minister for Home Affairs K. Shanmugam. MPs have filed over 70 questions concerning issues like increasing fuel and electricity prices, the effect on liquefied natural gas, LNG supply, and inflationary pressures on businesses and households. Prime Minister Lawrence Wong previously warned of severe consequences from prolonged energy supply constraints. A ministerial committee, led by Mr. Shanmugam, has been formed to manage energy disruptions, wider supply shocks, security, and diplomatic concerns. Additionally, Parliament will discuss recent Singtel network outages and the implications of a U.S. investigation into unfair trade practices, which Singapore disputes. NHK reports that the U.S. Central Command, responsible for military operations against Iran, announced on April 5 that 2 F-15 fighter pilots shot down on April 2 during a mission in Iran have been successfully rescued. The rescue operation, executed under a separate military plan, concluded on April 4th. U.S. President Trump subsequently posted on social media on April 5, stating, "We rescued seriously wounded, extremely brave F-15 fighter officers from the deep mountains of Iran." Iranian forces deployed large numbers for a thorough search and were closing in. Trump followed with another post threatening an unprecedented day for Iran, referring to Power Plant Day and Bridge Day, occurring simultaneously on Tuesday. He also issued a strong warning to Iran, demanding the swift opening of the Strait of Hormuz, stating, "Open the strait quickly or face a life in hell, we'll see." NHK is reporting that New York WTI crude oil futures saw a significant overnight jump, reaching a one-month high of $115 a barrel. This surge is attributed to traders factoring in new risks to global oil supply, following a threat from U.S. President Donald Trump to widen the conflict in Iran. While the benchmark contract briefly touched the $115 range before receding, it had traded at around $113 on Thursday. The market was closed for a holiday on Friday. Current market attention is focused on potential de-escalation talks between the two nations, especially as Trump's deadline for a possible attack on Iran's energy infrastructure approaches. The ongoing rise in crude oil prices, ignited by the hostilities, is also fueling worries about accelerating global inflation, which in turn is pushing Japanese government bond yields upward. On Monday, the benchmark 10-year bond yield hit 2.41%, marking its highest level in 27 years. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.